And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning on KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And coming up, we'll take your calls concerning last night's big gubernatorial debate and, of course, some other issues as we move along. The governor coming out and declaring Prop 2 is a good thing. We'll have those issues and your calls coming up. Liberal Steve, we'll get to you in a minute. First, David Ray joins us now from our friends from the Federation for American Immigration Reform, our great friends at FAIR. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
Not bad. Good to talk to somebody from Ohio, where all good things come from. We just had your buddy Jim Jordan in studio the other day, and
okay.
We're in Idaho, so I know people they don't want to hear about Ohio, but good to talk to you again, sir.
A lot of people here on the coast don't know that that Idaho and Iowa and Ohio are actually three different states. They're astounded. They think, it's like, that these could possibly be three different states that they've flown over their whole lives and didn't realize that was the case.
Indeed. Let's talk a little bit about the breaking news overnight. The president looking to sign an executive order terminating birthright citizenship. What are your thoughts and what are FAIR's thoughts on this?
Well, FAIR obviously applauds the idea. The 14th Amendment, which is what birthright citizenship is based on, was written to ensure citizenship for newly emancipated African American slaves, and it says all persons born or naturalized in the U.S. and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That's the key point. Subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. That amendment has been perverted over the years to include illegal immigrants, although by definition, if you're in the country illegally, you are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States because the government doesn't officially even know you are here. So, this type of precedent is already in terms of who's subject to the jurisdiction. It would be U.S. citizens and people who are here legally, living here, green card holders, and so on. If you're a tourist, or if you're an illegal alien, or if you're the member of a diplomatic corps and you're stationed in the United States and you have a baby, in none of these cases are you subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, and therefore your children should not be. And in the case of the diplomatic corps and foreign military, your children are not U.S. citizens. It's just been applied mistakenly to the children of illegal aliens. And it's good that we do away with that because it incentivizes illegal immigration. It increases the cost of welfare because these kids are born and they're automatically U.S. citizens, and even though their parents might have been here less than 3 minutes, they're entitled to all the benefits that you and I are from the government in terms of public assistance and so on. And so there's a lot of good reasons to do away with birthright citizenship.
David Ray joining us from FAIR. Kevin Miller, 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. David, what about the caravan? What's the latest there?
Well, there's news this morning that yet a second caravan has now crossed the border into Mexico, or I should say broken down the border and stampeded into Mexico as the first caravan did. This is, the Mexican government 2 weeks ago called this, a politically motivated stunt. This obviously was put together by a former member of the Honduran Congress who has ties to Venezuela. There's Venezuelan money in here. This is a great example of people using mass immigration as a political weapon. It's by no great coincidence that this is happening at the time of probably the most important midterm election in the last 30 or 40 years. It's meant to embarrass, to create chaos on the border, and to embarrass the sitting American president at a very important election. A lot of these folks are being used as pawns by those who'd like to make a political point against President Trump. But most importantly, they're going about coming to the United States in the wrong way. They've already been, if there are actually people in here who would qualify for political asylum, which is what they're all going to ask for if they get into the United States. They've already been offered political asylum in Mexico, and they've turned it down. So these aren't really real cases of political asylum. These are people who are economic migrants looking for a better job, better pay, etc. And with that being the case, the United States lets in 1.1 million legal immigrants a year. You need to apply at the consulate in your home country and wait your turn to come in with everyone else. You don't bust through the border gates and try to jump to the front of the line.
David Ray joining us. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. He's with FAIR, Federation for American Immigration Reform. Your thoughts on the president putting 5,000 troops on the border?
Well, what it's going to do immediately is to free up a lot of Border Patrol agents who've been stuck at jobs, who are stuck monitoring cameras, and stuck transporting aliens after they've been apprehended. Clearly, because of a law passed called the Posse Comitatus, we cannot use the military in a civilian capacity. In other words, the military can't come in and be the Border Patrol or be local police officers, but they can in a support capacity. They can help put up barriers, they can fix fences, they can fix vehicles, and allow those who've been trained in the nation's immigration laws, the Border Patrol, to be freed up from a lot of that, to be on the border to intercept these folks. What is so important is that these folks are going to attempt to come in to the country illegally, and unfortunately, given loopholes in our current asylum laws and the low threshold of a case that one has to make in order to be preliminarily qualified for asylum, if they get so much as one toe in the United States and ask for political asylum, they're virtually guaranteed the legal right to enter and to make their case in front of a judge, which will be probably 2-3 years down the way. And so this is the essence of the catch and release program. Are these loopholes in the asylum laws where illegal aliens are no longer apprehended and sent back. Once they're apprehended, they ask for political asylum. And there were some laws passed by Congress that had the best of intents. One of them was an agreement called the Flores Settlement that said that you can't hold children longer than 20 days. However, that has turned into a huge asylum loophole because people now know if you show up with a child and ask for political asylum, you can't be detained for more than 20 days. So there are a lot of things that Congress needs to change to close these asylum loopholes so that only real people authentically fleeing political persecution by their governments can have a safe haven in the United States through the political asylum process.
David Ray, we always appreciate it. If people want more information on FAIR, what can they do?
Yeah, check in with us. We're on the web at fairus.org. We have, or on Facebook at Fair Immigration, and we are a wealth of knowledge. We've been at this now for almost 40 years. We're the nation's largest and oldest immigration reform organization, and FAIR is out in the forefront fighting for an end to illegal immigration and re-injecting common sense and the idea that America's immigration policies need to serve the interests of the American people back into the legal immigration system.
All right, David. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Take care of yourself, brother.
Yeah, great being with you. Have a great day.
All right, there we have it. David Ray joining us from FAIR. The caravan continues to cascade north back to last night's gubernatorial debate.
The current Otto Little administration has created this corporatocracy in the state of Idaho, much like the rest of our country. It is continuing to be a plague of our society when it comes down to how much you give to these corporations, including the health insurance companies. Now, I would implore that the people of Idaho maintain invested in this issue, because while you look at how many corporate PACs have bought into this campaign, my opponent's campaign, it becomes an issue, because this, again, goes back to Citizens United, how we have to end this corporate corruption, buying candidates, paying to play. The people of Idaho cannot afford this. The people of Idaho, however, are continuing to...
Of course, she neglects to mention most of her money, I believe, has come from out of state.
to invest in this campaign, dollar for dollar, over 20,000 contributions, because we are running a campaign of transparency and ethics, unlike my opposition.
Well, from a percentage standpoint, and I can't remember which one of the professionals in the media pointed this out, your contributions from tribes who are obviously interested in Indian gaming on a percentage basis is more than it was into mine.
Absolutely
they weren't
not.
PACs, but they were still special interests.
They're not special interests either. Tribes are called sovereign nations.
Oh, they're sovereign nations.
They are also individuals,
Granted.
human beings.
What does she mean by that? Can somebody help me?
Melissa, I'd like to give you another question if you'd like to move along to prison overcrowding.
580-5436-580-KIDO. Joining us now, our expert on all things Paulette Jordan, Liberal Steve on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, sir.
I'm glad you said the word. Oh, excuse me. I apologize. Good morning, Idaho. Good morning, Kevin Miller. And good morning, Carla. I'm glad you used the word I believe or the words I believe her money. That way you can't get in trouble by saying her money comes from out of state. When you say I believe or I think.
No, somebody broke that down, but I don't have the facts and figures in front of me, and I want to be, unlike Paulette Jordan, I want to be transparent and open.
Okay.
By the way, did you read the new blog, Desperate Paulette Blames Attacks Idaho Media? You're a blog reader. Yeah.
Yes, I did. I don't believe, I know most of Otter and Little money comes from out of state. And that list is right there in front of you to read. And also I'd like to tell Mr. Little that the plane that flies around out here by Wilder and Homedale, that's got the flag behind it that says Brad Little for governor, they need to fly a lot lower because you need your binoculars to read it. Anyway, onward and forward, I hear you're going to have the governor on today. Is he in studio with you right now?
Nope. No governor.
Okay.
No governor today.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, the governor. Apparently, the governor doesn't value this program. And look, you know, we've got Phil Hardy on. He's our version of Governor Otter, and real folks, real people, and there you have it.
Well, Governor Otter was picked up for, and that's a fact, a DUI, where he said it was in his chewing tobacco, which children out there listening, never start tobacco of any kind, that got him drunk and got his DUI in 1992. And when he was a congressman in the 70s, he's quoted, and it's there forever, as saying, marijuana is God's gift to mankind. That's a quote from Otter. Now, also Miller, in 2017, he wanted Trump to go after all the states around here and stomp them because of the marijuana. The man was a flip-flopper, yet Idahoans voted for him, and I don't know why. But, yes, she definitely won the debate last night. I mean, come on. She's courageous. You know, she's just such a good person. She's so moral. And, it goes on, her generosity. She's what Idaho needs and what Idaho wants, and it's obvious that she totally wiped out Little in the debate, and she will be the next governor of Idaho. That's so obvious.
How is it so obvious? She's interruptive. She's caustic. This whole, what's a tribe? It's this, it's that. Look, Brad Little pointed out, look, your money came from the tribes. Your money comes from out of state. Your money's this. And instead of having a conversation, and then her comments that she made that we talked about yesterday, Republican men own the media. She forgot to throw in old.
Own the media. We all know that, Miller. They do own the media. Look at Roger Ailes, who got booted out. She has such few shortcomings, and she doesn't lie. And what she told Otter was what the tribes are, a sovereign nation. What don't you understand about that? What do you have to explain? They're a sovereign nation, period.
Really? They're sovereign nations, and that means they can give money to her. I still wonder look, her campaign, like this conversation, is going nowhere.
Yeah, the conversation on your side is going nowhere, but you're part of the past, Miller. You're what people don't want anymore. They want Jordan. You're part of the Otter group. They don't want that
If I
anymore.
were part
That's
of the
fact.
Otter, hold on. If I were part of the Otter group, the governor would be on. But the governor, Mrs. Governor, maybe it's their press operation. Over the years, they really haven't seen a value in this program. We don't going, oh, please, Governor Otter, come on the program. We love you. We see him at primary night. We see him at election night. And if you'll recall, they always say thank you. We're a party of the people here. And look, I don't begrudge anybody for getting those folks on. But we tell it like it is. And I'd rather have you on than a politician. And that's how we're going to run things until the end. Could be sooner, could be later. Depends on how compelling you are.
I'm glad you have me on because you have Half-Wit History Hank. You have Hurting for Time Tom. And you have Liberal Steve.
Right.
So
Look, it takes a collective, but at 580-5436-580, I'm just fascinated by just her attitude last night. She really didn't make any points. Specifically, I'm going to vote for Prop 2. Okay, Paulette, when the feds pull the money, where are you going to get the $80 million? And you could say that for Governor Otter, too. Hey, Governor Otter, when the feds pull the bait and switch like they did with healthcare and the police, where are you going to get the money for Medicaid expansion? Hey, Governor Otter, if you're passing Prop 1, where are you going to get the money when all of a sudden someone takes you to court and the gaming machines are illegal per the Constitution? Maybe that's why he's not coming on. Whatever.
I don't know. You just said that he was coming on, and now you said you.
No, you've got me confused with someone else. 580-5436-580-KIDO. So those were the big hits and misses from last night's big gubernatorial debate. We continue on taking your phone calls about the issues that matter to you. And a couple other things. We've got the state school superintendent being attacked by the Idaho Education Association.
Idaho's future depends on an education system that allows students to learn and thrive. But we've learned one thing. Sherry Ibarra can't be trusted to manage our schools. Ibarra's proposed budget contained a $100 million mistake. She created a school safety plan so flawed it could lead to chaos, making a crisis worse. And Ibarra even bragged about graduation rates, even though those rates remained stagnant. Tell Sherry Ibarra Idaho students need a superintendent we can trust.
There we have it from the Idaho Education Association attacking the state school superintendent. I thought we were all supposed to get along. Maybe the teachers don't like Sherry Ibarra. The teachers didn't like Tom Luna. Or maybe it's just the teachers' union. Is this a constructive message to be sending right before the election? Look, everybody has a right to do it. The ad is entitled Superintendent Accountability. You've had more money go into education. Maybe there should be a Marshall Plan for education in the state. The people were very tough on Tom Luna when he ran the joint. Now we've got Sherry Ibarra taking it. Cindy Wilson continues to say she's a teacher and this and that and the other. By the way, and I'm kind of going against the whole monicum of this program, which is play the hits. Everybody knows who Big Frank is, right? Frank Vandersloot. Melaleuca, richest guy in the state, if not one of the richest. He endorsed Russ Fulcher for Congress, and he's endorsed the Democrat Cindy. Is it Cindy Wilson? Isn't that a singer, Wilson Phillips? Anyway, last night during that debate on Channel 7, she announced Big Frank endorsed her. And you take a look at Frank Vandersloot, one of the Mitt Romney's best friends. He stayed out of this highly competitive and contentious primary season. And the general, really, those are the two endorsements that he's had, which makes you wonder, why stay out of this when it's so competitive? Also, 580-5436-580-KIDO. Your thoughts on the IEA going after Sherry Ibarra? I don't really think that sends a message of unity. Number one. Number two, last night's debate on Channel 7. And the governor gets rolling on Prop 2. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
Proposition 2 is an Idaho-grown solution.
It would keep Idaho families healthy.
And bring our tax dollars back to Idaho.
By expanding Medicaid to the tens of thousands of hardworking Idahans.
Families like mine.
Proposition 2 would help our rural hospitals
boost our economy, and create jobs.
And ensure hardworking Idahoans get the health care they need.
Vote yes on Proposition 2. It's the right thing for Idaho.
There we have it, paid for Idahoans for health care. The governor and his entourage, along with the First Lady, coming out in favor of this. We'll get your reaction next. Okay, coming up, you don't want to miss it. Of course, we'll talk about the governor endorsing Prop 2 along with Prop 1 and take your phone calls. But the crazy wackiness that was just the last couple days in history where people are going after the president, Sarah Sanders fighting back, the president fighting back. You have one reporter that said that Donald Trump has radicalized more people than ISIS. Is that civility? Of course not. Plus, the president saying it's time to bid adieu to the 14th Amendment. I'll explain next. Only a few minutes away from you, your phone calls, and alleged award-winning commentary. Traffic and weather together as well. Time to find out what's happening, what's going on in your world. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
Before we get back to the political news of the day, just a few reminders coming up at 580-5436. 580-KIDO. We've got some big events this week. We're going to be at the Ambrose School. The Ambrose School in beautiful Meridian, Idaho, just off Chinden. It's been a few years since we've been there, and every year the kids, and maybe we can get Reverend Bill to swing by, or someone from the Boise Rescue Mission, they always do a food drive, and I believe every year it's for the Boise Rescue Mission. And I mean, these kids in Ambrose, they just did a tour of Europe. And I'm just envious. I'm going, I want to be a kid there. That'll be Friday. Promote our school, secure our future. Thanks to our friends at CapEd Credit Union and Team Mazda Subaru. Look forward once again to getting out and learning a few things. Also, November 12th through the 17th. And it's funny, we have some new people on staff, or they just don't listen, or, you notice these days that you have to repeat yourself 3 or 4 times, and my wife says I mumble a little. Maybe that's it. But Miller's Mission 2018, the Big Enchilada, or the Big Turkey as we like to call it, the 12th through the 17th. We will once again be at the Nampa Walmart. That's Garrity and Franklin. If you're new to the area, it's the big Walmart right off the highway. When you go into Nampa, you see all the auto dealers and everything, and stop in. I'll be living there once again at the Walmart, having a good time. And looking forward to seeing you collecting turkeys, collecting your tax-deductible turkeys, your tax-deductible cash, non-perishable food items, and clothes benefiting our friends at the Boise Rescue Mission. And once again, if you're new to the Treasure Valley, the Boise Rescue Mission does not get any government money. They get all their donations from you. And a few events that I really love here in the Treasure Valley. Number one has to be Idaho Chooses Life event every year at Eagle Christian Church. The Rescue Mission, where they have the Thanksgiving banquet, the Christmas banquet, really does your heart good, and you realize what you're fighting for. Finally, on Sunday, I guess this is review and commentary of community updates, we will be at the state capitol beginning. The rally begins at 1. You're going to have Tom Munns, Greg Pruitt, Representative Zito, others, conservatives urging Idaho to stay red as we proudly support the red tsunami. Is supporting Prop 2 a Republican idea?
Proposition 2 is an Idaho-grown solution.
It would keep Idaho families healthy.
And bring our tax dollars back to Idaho.
By expanding Medicaid to the tens of thousands of hardworking Idahoans.
Families like mine.
Proposition 2 would help our rural hospitals, boost our economy, and create jobs.
And ensure hardworking Idahoans get the health care they need.
Vote yes on Proposition 2. It's the right thing for Idaho.
I notice everybody in this commercial, they're all beautiful people. They're all healthy. They're all cosmetically appealing. They're all thin. And maybe, again, I'm just showing my bias here, and this is paid for by the Idahoans for Healthcare. They don't have any fatties in here. They don't have any unhealthy people. They don't have anybody that really needs this. And maybe that's because television is visual and radio isn't. But you take a look at this, and I always thought that Governor Otter would ride out on his horse. His last campaign would be promoting Brad Little. Well, he doesn't have to. That's how devastating a defeat it will be for the state Democrats. And I don't say that from a partisan point of view. I say it from an objective observer. He's going to romp all over Paulette Jordan. And she's going to go back and try and figure out what's next. You know, a one-term state representative that really didn't accomplish anything, got a lot of headlines. We learned last night that apparently they're making a documentary about her. Wow. I don't know why. By the way, this just in. Thank you, Ray Amaya. Front and Main will be closed for an extended period of time in downtown Boise, immediately due to a geothermal leak. Apparently it's a big issue. So Front and Main will be closed for an extended period of time. That's really good news this morning. But back to this. Prop 2, didn't the legislature try and get this through and it got shot down? Medicaid expansion, because remember when we were doing Obamacare and everybody was like, well, Obamacare is good. We're going to sue Obama. And then Obama said, no, you're not going to sue. And then we go, well, we were going to sign up for it. One of the only Republican states that did it. And then there was the Medicaid expansion. And I want to take care of everybody. Some of the most helpless feelings that I've ever had in my life. When my heater blew up. Because you don't know who you can trust and it gets cold, which happened to me recently. B, going to the auto body place. Mike Miniger and I became new best friends after that. C, going to the hospital and wondering if your insurance will stick it up. And we have a lot of people that are in the medical profession, and God bless you for that, man. That is a tough gig. But you go in, and the first thing they ask you is, hey, where's your insurance card? What's your copay? It's not how are you feeling. And really, we've switched from the godless HMOs to the godless government bureaucrats determining whether or not we're going to live or die. That's sadly where we are. And I can remember a gentleman friend of mine who now works at Walmart. He was a private businessman. He goes, look, we take care of our own health care. He used to bump into me all the time at Fred Meyer. He and his wife. And something happened to her, and boom, devastation. Now, what the proponents of Prop 2 are not saying is what happens when the federal money dries up. And knowing President Trump, he could just say, it's done. Russ Fulcher brought that up in his debate on Channel 7. That really wasn't much of a debate. If I were Russ, I just would have read the talking points and let the young lady next to me just talk, because it wasn't much of a debate. But at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, here you have the man that said we're the reddest of the red wanting Medicaid expansion. Is that really a conservative Republican Party platform? I mean, Paulette Jordan wants Medicaid expansion. She believes this is her path. Legalize pot, Medicaid expansion, and Katie Barr, and get rid of the old. That's her campaign platform. But think about this for a moment at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. When we're looking at expanding Medicaid, the biggest argument against it is what happens when the feds take the money away? Is the state on the hook for $80 or $100 million? Yes, Governor Otter had to make a tough decision. What was it, 6, 7, 8 years ago, if you're new to the state, where he had to cut the funding to the special needs. You had people and disabilities going to the State House urging their legislators to do something. They did nothing. The budget was cut. So how in the world can we afford to pay for the Medicaid if we had to cut the funding to the special needs programs, which I believe were never fully restored? Again, this is a state that is fiscally very conservative, but can spend $120, $135, or $150 million on a dilapidated HP complex, at one time the envy of the entire country, but has fallen on so hard of times they had to sell it to the state of Idaho, and they probably made a profit on it. And as Dr. Ahlquist said to us, the state outbid his group by quite a bit, a private enterprise. Again, for people that have just moved into the state, and I'm no historian, but there has to be a frame of reference here. The governor jumping into this race, but he's staying out of the governor's race because it's not competitive. The governor and others saying, vote yes, we need our money. Doesn't that sound like an entitlement? Hey, I needs my money, as opposed to earning your money? But I haven't heard an answer from people that are all about Prop 2. What happens when the feds say, no soup for you, which the feds seem to do quite a bit? Pro-Life joins us now. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Pro-Life.
Yeah, what this is showing is that you have socialism at maybe 100 miles an hour with Democrats and 90 miles an hour with Republicans, and there's not much difference in them. There's no constitutional proper role of government having to do with medicine and government, Medicare, Medicaid, any of those kind of things. And so, I mean, the Republicans in Idaho
Now, wait a minute. What about your pal, Governor Otter, that to his face in this studio, you called him a wimp off the air? What do you make of him coming out for Prop 2?
Well, he's wimping out. He wants that. He can see that socialism is the.
Well, it would be easy for him not to get involved in this, but
it would. But he believes he has a legacy, and the legacy is that we're going to go socialist, at a slower rate than the Democrats want to, and so he's going to go there, and he shouldn't go there. And I think he knows better than that. We all know better than that. When government takes over health care, then the government prescribed procedures, charges, medicines.
Well, look, just like your insurance company can deny you coverage, all of a sudden you're going to have the government denying you the ability to live. I was talking to some people on the East Coast, and they said, these folks are decided who's going to live and who's going to die.
Exactly. And they'll tell you that you can't use herbs. You have to use pharmacy. It'll be the alternative people, which is real medicine. They get pushed out of the way.
See, what's the deal with the folks that do the healthy medicine in this state? They've been trying to run them out of here for years, haven't they?
Yeah, of course. Man. Everywhere in the United States.
That's what I hear.
The healthy medicine gets suppressed. And I don't know, you don't see any of them standing up and saying they're going to save the babies. So, I mean, we're going nowhere.
That was a good point last night. No one asked the tough questions about abortion or anything else.
Yep.
It seemed to me, I don't know if you watched the debate, but Paulette Jordan just kind of kept interrupting Brad Little.
I noticed that. And I don't know. We need a third party, maybe call it the Idaho Party or the Christian Moral Party. That's what we need, something like that.
You know who Paulette Jordan reminds me of?
Paulette Jordan.
Paulette Jordan reminds me of when I first started here 9.5 years ago. Rude, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. But I learned how to behave. And she's from Idaho. She should know that doesn't play. Or am I wrong?
No, she's on the warpath. I mean, she's a Democrat. They're all on the warpath. So
I don't know if you can say that.
Maybe I shouldn't.
Would you like to apologize for that?
No.
Retract that statement?
No, that's ridiculous. That we politically correct language is it's just so overwhelming, and I'm not going to listen to any of it. I'm going to talk like I think I ought to talk, and that's it. So anyway, your program is the best, and it's so nice when we get new people calling in, and I hope that we got somebody calling in today, that's new.
Well, it's tough because, we have to reschedule people because of all the people calling in, but like I said, it is, you've been such a great supporter of this program. I still love it when we need to get a hold of the governor. You just call him, and then he'll call in. That says a lot about him.
Well, I don't know. I just know his home phone number, and everybody can know that. And but
he doesn't have to answer. Pro-Life, so you believe Brad Little is going to win very easily, right?
Yeah, of course. And I wasn't for Brad Little. I was for Mr. Labrador, of the Republicans. But then, of course, I'm going to vote for Walt Bays, the Constitution Party.
I'm glad Walt's feeling better.
He is. He can talk now pretty good and getting a little better.
Yeah, Walt's a good guy.
What time on Sunday?
It'll be at 1 o'clock at the Capitol, the Red Tsunami Rally.
I'll be there.
You come up and give me a hug, would you?
I will, if I can get my arms around you.
Story of my life. Thank you, Pro-Life.
We'll see you.
All right, 580. God bless. 580-5436. 580 KIDO. Our political coverage continues. Philip Hardy will join us. You remember Philip from Strategies 360. He will be joining us. Phil works in Washington, but occasionally he will stop by when he's visiting the home country. And one of the issues we'll talk about is this.
Get rid of birthright citizenship without changing the Constitution.
With an executive order.
Exactly.
Right.
Have you thought about that?
Yes.
Tell me more.
It was always told to me that you needed a constitutional amendment.
Right.
Guess
14th
what?
Amendment.
You don't.
You don't.
Number one, you don't need that. Number two,
I mean, that's in dispute.
You could definitely
That's very much in dispute.
Well, you can definitely do it with an act of Congress, but now they're saying I can do it just with an executive order. Now, how ridiculous. We're the only country in the world where a person comes in, has a baby, and the baby is essentially a citizen of the United States for 85 years with all of those benefits. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it has to end.
Have you talked about that with council?
Yeah, I have.
So where in the process?
It's in the process. It'll happen. With an executive order. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
exactly
very
what I was
interesting.
talking about.
I didn't think anybody knew that but me. I thought I was the only one. Jonathan,
I've got a good
impressed.
guess. Good
I'm
guess.
impressed.
There we have it from Axios on HBO. The president yesterday saying he's going to sign an executive order eliminating the 14th Amendment. We'll talk about it next. 580-5436. 580-KIDO. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436. 580-KIDO.
It's ridiculous. And it has to end.
Have you talked about that with council?
Yeah, I have.
So where in the process?
It's in the process. It'll happen. With an executive order. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
exactly
very
what I was
interesting.
talking about.
I didn't think anybody knew that but me. I thought I was the only one. Jonathan,
I've got a good
impressed.
guess.
There you have it. President Trump says he wants to order the end of the constitutional right to citizenship for babies born of non-citizens, unauthorized, who have been born here in the United States of America. Now, the troubling part about this is you have people that have vacation babies, most notably from China, that come to this country so they can get the dual citizenship. They can get the advantages of being American. You have the people coming from south of the border that are 8-9 months pregnant, very dangerous, so they can get every right, every social program that people have had for years. Have we reached a point in America that this is necessary? Well, I would say yes. I would say I'm a little concerned about the president doing this with an executive order. Of course, Congress is supposed to have reformed immigration for years, and they haven't. But what does that say about the Constitution that you can just sign an executive order and how many years of legal precedent is wiped out?
It was always told to me that you needed a constitutional amendment. Guess
14th
what?
Amendment.
You don't.
You don't.
Number one, you don't need that. Number two,
I mean, that's in dispute.
You could definitely
That's very much in dispute.
Well, you can definitely do it with an act of Congress, but now they're saying I can do it just with an executive order.
Now, you think the people that don't like Donald Trump before, when they hear this, they're going to, well, I can't even describe what they're going to do.
Now, how ridiculous. We're the only country in the world where a person comes in, has a baby, and the baby is essentially a citizen of the United States for 85 years with all of those benefits. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it has to end.
Well, that's one way to end the caravan, because you're not going to have people coming to America if they can't become citizens, right? At 580-5436, 580-KIDO.
You know, this president, one of the things that he really launched his presidential run on is talking about Islamic radicalization. And this president has radicalized so many more people than ISIS ever did. I mean, the way he talks, the way he
it's
the way he talks, the way.
You know, and this guy, he's so afraid to say anything because he's been neutered. It took 40 minutes for Jake Tapper and others to have this woman apologize for saying this. Times are so good. Times are so good when we take a look at, we're just going to sit back. Now, this is the same Jake Tapper that, like Parkland student Cameron Kasky attacked Senator Marco Rubio. Can you believe that anybody would say this? And this woman, I believe, works for GQ. But to compare the president of the United States to ISIS. And remember, these are the same folks that are attacking President Trump for what he's saying. Look, civility is out the door. You're either with the president or you're with the radicals. It's 1968 all over again, it would seem, plus social media. How do we combat it? We'll talk about it next. We need you folks now more than ever. Midterms approaching. Keep it here for your complete coverage on 107.5 FM, 580 AM with Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio.